collectors and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans. Once again, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to all of the absolutely incredible contributions from my Optibotimus Plus channel members, we're going to be taking a look at the new NECA Toys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ace Duck and Mutagen Man. Another fairly deep cut in NECA Toys' animated TMNT line. This is again another set where I feel the characters have more of a connection to collectors because of the vintage toys. Mutagen Man appeared a little bit more than Ace Duck, but both vintage toys were really very fun. So that's why, for me, I feel that this is another deep cut, but still a welcome one nonetheless. For the package, much like all of the other animated series figures, you have this really nice packaging that fully showcases the figures as well as all of their accessories. You got animated images of Ace Duck as well as Mutagen Man right there. The side of the package has an up-close image kind of the action figure Ace Duck. Same thing here with Mutagen Man on that side. Come around to the back of the package, and you got product shots of them right there, as well as Anthrax, Scumbug, Ground Chuck, Dirtbag, and of course Wingnut and Screwloose. And then you actually do get a read up there, which I always kind of joke about because they seem to do it sometimes and then they seem to not do it. So I don't know, there's no rhyme or reason. But in case you want to read it, go ahead and pause it right now. But for the packaging on these guys, that is about it. Fairly standard, obviously. So without further ado, let's get them out here and see how cool they actually are. And here we have Ace Duck and Mutagen Man opened up and out of the packaging. And once again, an absolutely stellar representation of these characters. Starting off first with Ace Duck. Now, he's kind of a funny one because he literally, to the best of my recollection, only appeared in one episode of the original series, and it wasn't even an episode that featured him for the most part. It was an episode of the Turtles watching a TV show where Ace Duck was the star. Now, the vintage toy got a whole bio and read-up and kind of backstory, all that fun stuff, but in terms of the cartoon, nothing. So that's where I'm talking about. He really is a character that a lot of people liked because of the vintage toy. Unfortunately, he's one of the vintage toys that I don't have. I have a lot of them, as you guys have seen over the years, but that's definitely one that I don't have just because I never cared really much about him. I mean, the toy was always kind of cool, and I know a lot of people loved him and a lot of people had him. I never got him because, like I said, he never even had an episode. For his accessories, he comes with this movie poster of sorts, which is done very in a retro style. Very much like some of those old like fighter pilot movies and stuff. Really cool. It's actually cardboard, which is nice. But, I mean, that's all that is. He comes with several hands here, just bringing some of these in. You can see he's got a trigger finger hand. You got like a waving hand. Let's see, you got another trigger hand. You got a fist right there. You got another fist. You got a both right and left thumbs up. Oh no, I'm sorry. You got another hand here with a thumbs up, and then you have a right and left pointing finger hand, which, you know, you can have him point, I'm coming for you, something or other. I don't know. So you get all those. You also do get a pair of guns. Where is his other gun? Pepper, did you get the gun? Well, he's got one gun here, which is like a semi-automatic. I don't know anything about guns, but it's like the one where you load it like that and then shoot. Nope. Okay, I lied. I'm sorry. I blame Pepper, and I shouldn't have. I apologize, Pepper, baby. I'm sorry, baby. Oh, poor baby. It was on my desk still. It's a revolver one, which I kind of like this one a little bit more. Just seems more old-fashioned like he would be using. So you do... Where'd that other one go? There it is. You do get these two guns. You also have a holster right here that you can put them into if you're so inclined. So you can just put that guy right in there like so. And then you have a little strap here that comes over. And it's probably... Let's see. Can I get that in there? It's a little bit tricky to get that in there because it's a softer material. So there we go. You can get it in there like that, which that's kind of neat. I dig that. You got a little flecking of the paint So there's that. You also do have these little hole sections here, which work for these. Now, these tie in with like the vintage toy where he had egg grenades, and that's what these are done up to look like. You got one here. You just put that right in there like that, and you get a second one as well. So you can have him holster those little weapons. I mean, he only has one of these holsters, so I don't know why you need to have him have 2 guns, but you do have him with 2 guns, so there's that. Setting him back there. We'll focus on him in a little bit. You also do get a movie reel, which, again, I feel like this is just like kind of an extra accessory, much like this VHS tape, which does look really good. Great detail on here with the little film on the inside there. Even when you come around to the bottom, you got the little section right here that actually would connect and then rotate this around. This is what this basically became in terms of timeline of sorts. You got these big things here that would play the film across there. You get the light shining through, all that fun stuff. So you get these, which kind of go along with the fact that he is a movie star. So I would imagine that the Turtles would have something like this in their collection to kind of watch movies for the guy. So you have that. You also do get an alternate head. Now you can see that, let's take this off. This is another accessory. He comes with his hat, which can be used on both of these. Kind of wish that there was a little bit more of a specific way to put it on there. I mean, it sits on there pretty good. It doesn't, like, it just rests on there. It doesn't really lock in all that well unless you really kind of push it down, which kind of bums me out. But, I mean, I guess you can kind of do it, but it kind of covers up his eyes. So, you do have that. But you do get these 2 different head sculpts here, which looks really nice. This one is more of a neutral, maybe more of a grimacing one. This one is a more open mouth, like he's talking to you kind of thing. Eyes are basically, you can also see slightly different. So this definitely shows a little bit more angry of a look. You can see that the brow is furrowed and stuff, and his eyes are a whole lot more dilated and stuff. That's really cool. But you just got this, and like I said, and then you just take the hat, and you're going to just kind of friction that down. He's got like a little bitty feather thing right here, which I feel like that the paint's going to get ruined on that, but kind of sits on there. But I mean, it's on. I just wouldn't play with it too much. And then the other big thing with this guy is obviously his wings. Now I have him kind of positioned down like that to make him look like he's just standing there. You can articulate these and rotate these around, and this is primarily how he looked. And he doesn't have the wings in his poster, but you do have that kind of thing. And I really do like the way that this guy looks. Again, I didn't really have any connection to the character because he wasn't really a character in the show. He was literally just a movie thing on their television that they watched. And for whatever reason, they never really developed this guy into an actual character. Now, subsequently in other series, you know, they kind of played with the idea of him and stuff, but nothing overly dramatic or spectacular. But the guy does look really cool. He does have that very movie star style look from that era, and I think that in terms of an action figure, they recreated this guy very nicely based on, you know, that brief appearance in the TV spot, I guess. Now, like I said, I don't have a vintage one to compare him to, but he pretty much looked the same. But this is definitely one where, again, I feel like there's more of a connection to that vintage toy than the actual character because it didn't exist. Great detail with the wings. I love the black lining here to separate the different feathers and such. Got a nice little patch here on the side of his arm. The other side, or on the back section here, you can see his like bombardier jacket with different marks on there, kind of denoting how many planes he might have shot down. As I talked about, he's got his flight jacket here with the very hairy feathers coming out from the front, which look great. He's got this nice yellowish color that really does look very good, very duck-ish. Nice blue pants. Of course, you got the panel lines. You do have that color fade going on here, where you have the darker here on the back and the lighter here in the front. And then, of course, you have the webbed toes, which he had just webbed toes. That's how he walked around. I do like the belt, how it's a looser piece that you can kind of have it hang off his hip, a little bit more cavalier looking of sorts. General, a very good figure. Articulation wise, I should probably go over that, but very good looking figure. I really do dig him. Happy to have him, but honestly, for me, this was always going to be the star of this set, so I am happy to have him, but he's not one that I probably would have ran out and ever really wanted to get. Articulation, though, the ball or the neck is on a ball joint here at the upper section. You also do have a ball joint down at the lower section, so you can rotate that around. It does get a little bit tricky, but you can still do it. The shoulders here are on those pin hinge joints, so you get a good range of motion. You do have a double bend elbow, although that really, I mean, when it's like that, it's not too bad. It's a little bit more rounded, but when you do something like that, it just kind of creates a straight line. Elbows don't look like that. It's kind of ugly to a degree, but it's not terribly bad. A ball joint here for the hips, so you get a good rotation forward and back. Hips are a little bit loose. I feel like a lot of the newer releases, the hips have been getting looser, it seems, but those are ball joints, so I feel like I can just use some of my floor polish to kind of tighten up. A lot of people ask, how do you tighten up ball joints? I use Pledge with Future Shine, I think it is, or Multi-Surface, I think it's called now. Floor polish, that works beautifully. So you do have a bit of a rotation there, and then the forward and back, in and out. You do have two bends at the knee, but again, you get that straight line. It's not nearly as bad as the elbow, but it does still kind of look weird. Ankles do move forward and back. They also do have that weird hacky-sacky. I like how they do put the peg holes here on the bottom, because they do sell display stands because a lot of their figures can't stand on their own. I feel like it's something they do deliberately to get you guys to buy those stands. I don't know. Just make good QC figures, and you'll be fine with that. But for Ace Duck, there you go. Now turning our look to Mutagen Man. Again, another really very well done figure. As you can see, you got two fists that are on him. You have a kind of relaxed hand right here. You have a more wide open hand, you have a gun holding hand, and then you have some canister holding hands. Now, Mutagen Man, that was one that I did have the vintage toy for, or I should say, I still have the vintage toy for. Here that is. You can see it. Oh, I'm dropping them. There is a very similar look to these guys, except for the most part, obviously in the cartoon, he did not really look like that. He was very similar, but not entirely like that. Good old Seymour Guts. Seymour Guts. Get it? It's a play on them. Interrupted Shredder and Krang talking about a type of mutagen that they were going to put into a rocket that would explode over the city and then mutate everybody. But the mutagen wasn't stable. It resulted in mutagen that was not going to make humans permanently mutated. So they needed something called Binex 3, I think, which is what this is. You can see, unfortunately, they didn't put the Binex 3 text right on there, but you can see really nice detail with this. Now, Bebop and Rocksteady were originally sent to get it. They failed, as they always do. And then Seymour, who was a postal delivery guy, interrupted Shredder, Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady talking because he was trying to deliver a package. Bebop and Rocksteady then freaked out, shot the canopy that it was standing on, and then Seymour fell into the vat of that unstable mutagen, resulting in his body completely disintegrating except for like his brain and his spinal cord. Shredder fished him out of the mutagen, created this whole suit for him, but he still had to utilize that mutagen to stay kind of alive. And what Shredder did was convince Seymour to steal the Bindex 3 as a way to permanently fix him. Because as an unstable mutagen substance, it allowed him the actual kind of cool power to appear like anybody else. We saw it with Bebop, Rocksteady. He used it throughout the episode. And that Bindex 3 was what was going to permanently give him a look, which at the end of the episode chose a slightly different one, which resulted in him getting a date with April. So I can't really say that I blame him too much. But at least, hey, unlike Ace Duck, he had an episode that revolved around him, which was why I really like this guy. Plus, I did have the vintage toy. Now, as you can see, there is a difference between them. In terms of the arms and things of that nature, pretty much the same, but this is a far more grotesque look for him. Also, you could fill this with water, and there's little bone fragments, and I'm not even going to be able to show you. There's like a little pizza thing in there. You can hear it. There's like little pieces that are in there that would kind of float around, and that was always kind of a cool thing. Now, you can't really do that with this guy, but what NECA did is really quite impressive. As you can see, detail-wise, this guy is stellar. Again, absolute spot-on representation to how we looked in the cartoon. You have that off yellow for the body, which it's kind of like that, and he had that in the show. He's got this weird thing, no idea what that thing is supposed to be for, but it's there. And then his life suit, and then even on the inside here you can see the mutagen that keeps him essentially alive, which is also kind of pumped in here by these little containers and things like that. Now, while I said that he was in that one episode, I think he did show up in a couple subsequent episodes, and I don't get this out of the way. I don't necessarily remember the rest of them, but I want to say that that's where this accessory came from. I don't really know much about it, but it looks cool, obviously. And then you do have the trigger hand here that you can kind of wedge this in there, and he can go around holding that. And then again, you kind of have like these other hands here that kind of make them, you rest things on there, or put your other hand here. There's something like that. I guess you could do something like that. But I have no idea what this gun is meant for. So you have to forgive me, I don't remember everything about the Ninja Turtle series. There's a lot going on, but it still looks really cool. Great paint detail on here. Does have that very, I don't know, thin sounding plastic. If you guys have these, when you feel it, I mean, like, I feel like if I do that a little bit too much, like this kind of bendy thing, something's going to snap clean off of it. So, you know what I'm talking about. He also does come with an alternate head sculpt, and you can see that. I'll show you how to swap it out in the container here. They do have the articulated jaw on both of them, which is cool. He's more angry in this one. I'm not a big fan of the angry one. I like that they included it, but I think of him more as this kind of like sad kind of dude that's stuck like this. So I like that head sculpt a whole lot more. But great detail with this. You can see it's all a brain. He's got like the lower section here. Great paint on it. You do have a hole here, which comes into play there. I also found it weird that they gave him eyebrows. I mean, that's how it was in the cartoon. So I mean, it makes sense that he would have it, but definitely weird. Now, what they did to swap that out, I think it's absolutely brilliant. These little pieces here just kind of peg in here. Not a full-on permanent peg or anything. I mean, it just kind of rests right in there. But you lift that, pull that, and then this whole top section here kind of moves away. You got this softer rubbery piece that holds everything together. You got all that throughout the rest of it. Now, this part does get a little bit tricky. You kind of just pull this away and pull that out. And then you got access to the slime down here, and then this whole piece pegs into the back. And you can see you got the ball peg right here that pegs in the back of that section here. The spinal thing here is all attached to a ball joint, so you can kind of play with that how you want, and then you would just pop this off of that. That's really tough. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, there we go. And then you put that in there, and then you can have the angry one. But like I said, I don't really like him being angry. I like Seymour being kind of a happy guy. But there's that. And then, again, you have the jaw articulation there. This section right here will act as a rotational sort of thing. So you put that in, peg that back in, and you can then still articulate the head around a little bit, which I think is really cool. I do dig that. And really, again, gives a good sense of accuracy to the character, while still maintaining some of that articulation. So that's really cool. And then you just put that back in there, collapse that back in, bring that around. This goes right there. This piece is going to plug in there. That plugs in there. And that comes down. Get that over the shoulder. Plugs in there. So really very fun. I absolutely love that. So the articulation is built in there. The shoulders here are articulated, and then you have two bends here at the elbow as well. This one is a little bit loose, as you can kind of see. He also does rotate at the bicep, rotates at the fist, has the hinge there as well. Straighten that out, kind of bringing that down, kind of just making it look, because that doesn't, I mean, that kind of sticks out a little bit. Right there and there, yeah, whatever. Nothing at the waist, though, because of the way that the design is. But the hips do move forward and back, and they move in and out. He does have two bends here at the knee, but I can't get this bottom one to pop. This one works perfectly fine, but this one, it is stuck, so I'm kind of always annoyed at that. And then the ankles do some really cool stuff. They move forward and back, and then these little pistons here are separate. So when you rotate it, those, you can see, would pop out if you overdo it. So I like the fact that that is a separate piece. It just, you do have to be careful when you're doing it, but it just, you know, slots right back in there. So you do have that piston thing going on there. This one here has it as well, because this lower section here is a separate piece. Despite the fact that it looks like it's all one piece, it is separate, but they do it in a really nice way that does make it look like it can actually, or it's still all one part on there, but it does have that articulation, which is really nice. As I said, for me, Seymour or Mutagen Man was the one that I wanted more than any of the other ones. I'm trying to keep his head straight because that drives me nuts when heads aren't straight. This was the figure that I wanted the most in this entire set. It's not that Ace Duck is a bad figure, because he's not. He is a terrific looking figure, as you can see. I didn't care about him too much, but he still is a very fun one to get in terms of a action figure, and I think that they did a terrific job with both of these guys. They nailed the aesthetic, they nailed the likeness. I mean, at this point in time, we all know what NECA is able to do with their Ninja Turtle figures. And we've gotten some new pre-orders that are launching with Usagi Yojimbo, as well as the Neutrino 3-pack, which, those Neutrinos, those are the ones that I'm super excited about. I just always loved the Neutrinos. I thought they were super cool. And for me, they really kind of round out the must-haves of the collection. Unless you start talking about vehicles, I really can't think of other characters that need to have a figure made for them. The rest are just those deep cuts, which are still fun, but definitely cause you to have less space in your collection. But beyond that, guys, there you go. There's your look at the new Ace Duck and Mutagen pack from NECA Toys. If this set is one that you would like to add to your collection, as with all of the cartoon TMNT figures, they are exclusive to Target stores. And they are on shelves now. So if you are looking for them, good luck and happy hunting. And as always, guys, remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you all for watching and taking the time to be a kid.